Good question. This young lady was mentioning that obviously the opera was sung in Italian, and she was asking if I understand your question, do the singers learn Italian, or do they have to speak Italian, and how does that figure into being an opera singer?
Sì, mi piace la lingua d'Italia moltissimo.
Che bella lingua, che bella.
It's a beautiful language, and we're all trained in the most common opera languages, German, Italian, and French. And now, since Czech opera has become very popular, starting at the Met and now it's spreading around, and also Russian operas. So the kids who are now in conservatories and universities are having to study Russian and Czech as well, and Spanish as well, because zarzuela is another form of opera. I wasn't trained in those things back in my day, and I'm teaching now, and when these young kids come to audition, they have gotten 3 more languages under their belt than the people who preceded them. So they have to in order to compete. And you can tell when a singer doesn't know what they're saying. It's very clear. That wasn't the case by anyone tonight, obviously, but when you see other people and they're younger students and they haven't quite done their translation work, it's very clear because you cannot communicate to an audience who doesn't speak the language what you're saying if you don't know exactly. You're just singing syllables. So most of the singers don't speak a language, but some people do. I speak a little Italian, a little French, enough to get in a hotel room and a cup of coffee and train ticket. But yes, we do mostly study languages.
You have to.
I have an interesting fact about the show that I showed my mother tonight because she didn't understand what the word raked stage means.
Oh.
I don't know if any of you guys knew, but our stage tonight was raked. And it means it's at an angle. So in the back, it's about 4 foot tall. And it all goes on an angle all the way down to the front of the stage. So we're standing like this most of the nights. Or if you're standing sideways, one leg's lower than the other leg. So it really throws your back and your hips off. But it helps the sound carry into the house as well. So that has something to do with projection.
You're quite welcome. The woman is thanking us for participating in the Arts for All program. Portland Opera participates in that program, which makes tickets, affordable to a wide range of people. So if you took advantage of that, thank you so much for doing so, and we're very proud of that program. Also, our Student Rush program. I hope the young people that I'm seeing here took advantage of our Student Rush program, because 1 hour before curtain, all tickets that are remaining go on sale for $10 to students. So it's a way for students to be exposed to opera. Gosh, yes, I mean, a movie costs about $10 nowadays. So the fact that you can get a good orchestra seat and have a date for $20 and see an opera like this, that's something we're also very proud of. And we have one of the youngest audiences really in regional opera companies today, because we work very hard to make sure we hold our traditional audience, but make sure we get young people here to the opera. So
when we do dress rehearsals, we invite high school, middle school, grade school sometimes kids. We had a big group of them for our dress rehearsal. And when people say it's an art form for stuffy people, or it's an art form that you can't understand, when you get kids to come in and they laugh their heads off and they appreciate the music, you know that this is an accessible art form to all people, all ages. And we prove it every time we do a dress rehearsal.
Well, the question is, the gentleman was asking, how is it maneuvering that beautiful set and making those beautiful sounds? Maneuvering the set is a fairly easy answer. How to make those beautiful sounds, I haven't a clue. Ask this guy.
Practice, practice, practice. I don't know. You're either born with a voice or you're not. And some people who are born without a voice can still learn the basic principles of singing classical music. So everyone's encouraged to learn something about making a beautiful sound. But some people are born with more operatic voices than others.
And there's a lot of physical around those.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about this production. The director, every time he would ask me to do something, I thought he was kidding. Because it seemed impossible. And he wasn't. And we ended up doing it, but it took, 3 weeks of rehearsal to get it right.
Doing it beautifully.
Yeah.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
He would like to know what the stage director brings to my character interpretation, or the cast's character interpretation, being that we come with our own knowledge and history with the part. And when you work with someone like Stephen, you kind of just keep your mouth shut because he's so darn smart. Everything you would say, I have this idea, and he'd say, that's a great idea, but what if you did it this way? Because I think what you're really wanting to do is this. And he was right every single time. So you just learn, some directors obviously don't have the best ideas. Sometimes you've been to those shows, I guess. But when you're around someone that smart, you realize, okay, all my information is something I'm going to bring to the performance. But in rehearsals, you just need to be open to the director's ideas if they're good ones. And if they're bad, you do them badly and prove to him that's a bad idea.
Okay, just very quickly, because we're sort of out of time now.
You mentioned 3 weeks of rehearsal.
Yeah.
Could you say a little bit about how many hours a day? Does part of this, do part of you sing some days and not other days?
The process.
stage.
Yeah, okay, let me answer that and then I'll hand it over to Dan to fill in from a singer standpoint. The singers arrive here and we rehearse 2.5 weeks in our studio at the Hampton Opera Center, which is on the east side in our building, in a rehearsal room with a piano. And that's where the conductor and the director work out the staging and all the details. And then they come here for a week of stage rehearsals. We have a Zitz program where we just do the music with the orchestra and the singers, then check balance out in the house. And then we add scenery, costumes, and light. And then we add students for the dress rehearsal. And then we add the regular public for opening night. So that's kind of the sequence of events. Now, how the singer deals with that and the number of hours they work and how they tend to their voices, I'll let Danny answer that.
It's totally up to the singer. We rarely all sing together the same days. Some people are feeling good. Some days you wake up, you don't feel so good. And in the 3 weeks of rehearsals in the rehearsal space, it's usually understood that you mark, we call it marking, which means kind of half singing or singing down the octave or speaking through the lines in order to not overuse your voice. And the conductor and the director usually find that totally acceptable. Although there are days, like the last day that we're in the room, we call it the final room run through, we all try to sing out because we need to feel what it feels like to do all 4 acts together as one opera. When we get into the theater and start doing what they call technical rehearsals, where we're learning how to open the door the right way, because in the room we didn't have those pieces of doors and tables and things. So you have to learn to do those things, and nobody ever sings in those rehearsals because it's purely technical. Make sure you're in the light, make sure the door closes, make sure where we staged in the room, this now works once we put it on the set, and oftentimes it has to be changed. So we never sing.
Okay, well, we're out of time. You've had wonderful questions. This is a very good group with good questions. Well, you're a wonderful audience.
We can tell that today
and
on stage.
I'm asked to remind you that our program called Destination Opera is happening at the Sherman Clay Piano on 13th and Southwest 13th and Cooch. And when is it, Claire?
Friday at 7.
This Friday at 7 at Sherman Clay Pianos, we have a free ongoing program called Destination Opera with our director, our manager of education, Alexis Hamilton, in which she invites a prominent psychotherapist or psychologist to come and speak about aspects of each opera from a psychoanalytic standpoint. And actually, these tend to be very fascinating conversations, and a lot of give and take, a lot of good questions come from the audience, and they're free to the public. So if that interests you at all, if you'd like to put Figaro and Susanna on the therapist couch and learn, more about them, then come Friday night to Sherman Clay Pianos at 7:30 at 7 o'clock. And that's just one of the things we try to do to just fill out every opera that we do with other things happening around town as they're being performed. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you for your support of Portland Opera, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you on Madam Butterfly.